Hello, everyone. Um, my name is Tiago Valente. I am a textile artist. I'm a textile designer. I'm a creative designer. Um, I think I would describe myself as more so than an artist. I would describe myself as a designer with an artistic point of view or artistic thinking. Um, I design stories, I design products, I design apparel, I design learning experiences, strategies, and all sorts of things. I even designed ice cream some time ago. The thing is that I am today very happy, very honored, very humble, and thrilled to be here and for the opportunity that New York Textile Month has given me to present this new chapter of my body of work, Please Meet Me. This is the chapter number 1. And I started this series in 2014 when I was living in Shanghai. The first chapter started on chapter 3. And the reason why it started with chapter 3, it's because this story is intended to be a story completely out of any conventions. Um, I the worlds that I create, the characters that I create, always run away from any categorization, and I always like to leave it open for interpretation to the viewer. Um, I have to say, this is an ongoing story. This is chapter 1. This is how the story technically starts. Um, and this is supposed to be, or it's meant to be, a collaboratory story. It's a project about collaboration. In the first chapter, which was chapter 3, I had the opportunity and immense privilege of working with Iker Rue, who is an incredible choreographer and dancer, as well as Luis Miguel Cobo, who created and designed the sound experience, which today is also part of what we're going to see. For this chapter, I was so fortunate and so honored to have the help and the incredible performances of John McCourt and Eric Thurman. Um, Without them, this would have never been possible. And I'm deeply grateful, not only to them, but again, to the initiative of New York Textile Month for giving me this opportunity to present this work and to share my story. The film runs around 20 minutes, a bit less than that. And for a deeper experience, I strongly suggest you, and trust me, you won't regret this one, to listen to the story if you are in front of a computer, to plug in your headphones. So the music and the sound will enhance your experience. I will talk now very slowly so I can give you time to get those headphones if you haven't yet. Um, so, as I said, I hope you have those headphones on already, and and I hope you enjoyed this dream as much as I enjoyed producing it. I am very grateful, and I'm just filled with happiness and much appreciation for this. So I hope you enjoyed this journey, and please stay with us after the film. There's going to be some time for Q&A, and I'll be most happy to share with you further about this story, about the film and my practice. So stay with us after the film, and again, thank you. And I'm going to share this with you. So enjoy the ride.
Cedro, Hamani Cedro, Hamani Cedro, Hamano Man Metini, Avanadrma Mermu, Hamani Cedro, Hamano Man Metini, Avanadrma Mermu, Hamani Cedro, Hamano Man Metini, Avanadrma Mermu, Hamani Cedro, Hamani Vetu, Hamani Sajeda Vedarabdanim, Namasartestru, Hamani Vandabal Shasta, Hidina, Ruvata Sevelo, Hamani Vandal Prasanaya, Yodana, Nasaru, Hamani Vasi, Dortestu, and Gambrana, Hamani Prumbakana, Muga, in the Telegasi, Hamani Vestil Tarpagan, the Visanava,
Inside of your house, they started seeing the benefit of what it was like to live in these mountains. That's basically what they You said, how can we fight? But I can't see it. They use mountains on the water right there.
You know that it would be untrue. You know that I would be a liar if I was to say to you, boy, we couldn't get much higher. Come on, baby, light my fire. Come on, baby, light my fire. Try to set the night on fire. The time to hesitate is through. No time to wallow in the mire. Try now, we can only lose. And our love becomes a funeral pyre. Come on, baby, light my fire. Come on, baby, light my fire. Try to set the night on fire. The time to hesitate is through. No time to wallow in the mire. Try now, we can only lose. And our love becomes a funeral pyre. Come on, baby, light my fire. Come on, baby, light my fire. Try to set the night on fire. Come on, baby, light my
All right. So that was it. I hope you've enjoyed this journey, because to me this whole story is always a journey, and I'm very curious to hear your thoughts, and even your interpretations, and what is it that it means to you, or any other things that you would like to share or ask me. The Q&A is open now for questions and for any comments if you would like to share. Let me see. Well, I thank you so much for all the beautiful feedback that I'm receiving there. Thank you to everyone. It's really wonderful, and I appreciate that. So Abdul Corlet asked me, well, thanks for the kind words. And he asked me, can you talk a little bit about the symbolism of color and choosing to color block sections of the film, like the whites and the reds? So these, let me answer to that. These, the symbolism about that, it's the red basically, or the red part, to me in the film, it represents the birth and also the death. This journey, it's or this project, the story is about destruction and construction. It's about rebuilding. It's about, sometimes we have to destroy in order to rebirth and to rebuild again. So the red has been always, to me, very linked to those moments of tension, both tension, in a positive or in a negative way or manner. The birth, and it's also, to me, is a color that it's very linked to my female side, and to women in general. It's a color very symbolic about the menstruation cycle, and something that I truly honor as part of the cycle of life as well. So that is sort of the symbology behind that. The white, to me, symbolizes in this particular film, or in this particular project, it symbolizes something like a blank canvas, something like a very, just there and open for interpretation, for not interpretation, but open to okay, to start moving into something. That's why this character starts trying to learn how to, sort of like learning how to walk in that environment. And I have to say that what this story is about, it's about the search for a place. It's part of my projects. I always talk about belonging and identity. And in this particular project, this character just expands their alter egos into multiple landscapes and multiple alter egos to see how can they fit into that environment. And that's why every journey, or every little story within the larger story, it's just one more try, one more quest to find how to fit in. I hope that answers your question, Abdul. Regina Scudellari says, I think that I would have to watch it several times to really take it all in. It was very impactful. Thank you very much. Yes, I would love for you to watch it again. And it's actually going to be available on a New York Textile Month TV. I believe is a YouTube channel. But I'll please follow or stay up to date with New York Textile Month, because or on my website or my Instagram, and I'll keep you posted on that. Let me see. Okay, Jeffrey Masters says, hello. Hi, Jeffrey. I believe you said the first section that you did previously was performed live in a non-COVID world. That's correct. Would we have been able to experience this live, or was it always planned to be filmed? Well, the intention, so yes, the first film, the first chapter, which was a live performance, was performed in Shanghai, as I mentioned before, in the context of Jue Art Festival in the year 2014. And the idea is that each one of these chapters is an immersive experience, is an interactive experience, and it's a performance that expands into different channels. That's the way that I like to work and the way that I like to collaborate. As I said, this is a project that it's about collaborations and working with different artists in different disciplines. So also shout out there to anyone that would like to be part of this journey of Please Meet Me, let me know. But going back to your question, Jeffrey, yes, the idea actually and how I designed this experience, or how I conceived it initially, was to be performed simultaneously in different parts of the world, with different performers and with different actions and stories converging at the same time, being all them showcased at the same physical space while a physical action is happening, but feeding into or being fed into with screens with whatever it's happening in other locations worldwide. It's an ambitious project that I've been in conversations for a while to carry on, and I hope eventually will come to fruition. Maybe that's please meet me chapter 2. Fingers crossed for that. Richard Haynes, thank you. Thanks for your kind words. Let me see. Lina Keshishian, I hope I say your name properly. Pardon me if I don't. This was definitely a deeply spiritual journey for me to watch. Not sure if this was your intention. However, I interpreted it as the beginning of one's journey of unveiling him herself. I just got goosebumps. Lina, thanks for this comment and for your candor and in sharing. Yes, to me, it is a deeply spiritual journey. I even get emotional once I read this, because yes, it is a deeply spiritual journey. All these, my work is extremely and highly autobiographical. I always talk about my story and about things that happened to me and that happen in my life and that I observe. Of course, they are fed with dreams. I take a lot of inspiration from my dreams and quotidian moments and motifs that I see, whether there is on the street or in a gathering with friends or at a movie or something. Like I just have this photographic memory, and you know, the moment that I have these, I always sketch them, and I have a huge mood board. Perhaps I should have set up these not in front of one of the pieces, but I should have set up where I'm in my studio right now, where my mood board with all the images and inspiration is set. And there you could see that, you know, it's really all fitting into that. But yes, at the end of the day, it is to me is a very deeply spiritual journey. I feel very vulnerable in showing this because I mean, I'm not very explicit about the things that I'm telling there, but I'm talking a big portion of myself. So, but you know, that's my commitment, and I'm very honored to be of service with my creativity and perhaps inspiring others. So thank you, Lina. Regina asked me, Regina Scudellari asked me, how did you construct this idea and piece it together, and what does it mean to you? So the way that I work, my projects take years. Very honestly, I work every day, and in working every day, I mean I journal my dreams every day. Whenever I have an idea of an image, I sketch it. I work with textures, and you know, I put them together, and not with any intention. I just follow my intuition, and in that way, I just have my let's say that's how I gather my materials. I just follow my intuition, unless of course I am commissioned for a project or a client assigns me something specifically, like could be a site-specific performance or a site-specific installation or experience. Of course, that's a different story. But I bet even for that, I work every day, and I work every day just for the sake of working and producing and following my intuition. And so my projects actually take years. I'm using in this particular one imagery and ideas that I had for years. There's one of the parts in which, well, basically the last part when those two characters, which is me and Eric Thurman, are you know, just dancing in that studio space. That was shot last year, and that was shot without any intentions toward this. It was shot as a study of movement, and I had, and it was an extension of the "Please Meet Me" concept that I had developed before, but I wasn't really sure when I was going to use it or in which "Please Meet Me" I would use it. So I just, you know, I just keep working, and then by the time I have to develop something, I just grab all the things that I've been working on and I piece them together, and then I tell my story. Because when you work connected to your intuition, then it's quite seamless, because then the story has a meaning and the story, it's powerful and just carries on. Let's see. Thank you, Giselle. Very developed the way that can be. Yes. Giselle says that she loves the fact that it can be interpreted in different ways. And that's also something that makes me very happy. And like I said, I encourage you to share how does this inspire you, or what does it mean to you? To me, it's very important always. The project doesn't end when I present the actual film or the actual work. The project actually never ends. The project continues and grows with the feedback of the viewer, what the viewer feels, what the viewer tells me, and that actually fits back into the next body of work. Richard Haynes asks me, so many amazing references, thank you. I see Japanese films, especially Kurosawa. Is that accurate? Yes, Kurosawa is a big reference to me. I don't only get references from films, but since you mentioned Japanese films, to me there's a very big reference, which is um, um, my experience in Asia. I used to live in Asia for 6 years before I moved to New York. I was living in Shanghai. And so while I was there, all the Asian cinema that I was able to absorb, all the Asian traditional rituals, I was able to witness, and not only in Asia, but in the South Pacific, in Oceania, in the South Pacific Ocean, where I started developing a series of expeditions, and it is in these territories where I also grab a lot of inspiration. I'm passionate about rituals and understanding human behaviors, and why the human being believes in what they believe. So I've been studying. I'm not an anthropologist by academically speaking, but I'm deeply interested in anthropology, and it's a huge part of not only my art practice, but also as a professional strategist and consultant, and even in my design practices. So yes, Kurosawa, it's a big influence to me, and all that part from Asia. Let me see. Thank you, Jaime Don Hill, for your beautiful words. You said, I love the piece, love the alter egos, felt the fantasy, the mystery, and different tensions between all of it. Tension is a great work. I've always liked to use this word with my clients and with my students, because it is true that sometimes it's not just about presenting one thing or another. It's about, I think that what interests me the most is the tension. It's what happens in between those two things that you present, not just presenting them isolated. So I usually work with tensions and dualities or dichotomies. Made me want to know more about all of them, where you're more than welcome to come to the studio anytime and discuss further. Beautiful work, great execution, big fan of all the headpieces and fashion you create. Thank you, Jaime, that's very sweet. Let me see. Richard Haynes asked me again, the headpieces remind me of the cardboard airplane wings kids in China wear to social distance. Were your headpieces about keeping distance as well? I love this all so much. Well, it's funny you asked me that because so a big portion of this film was shot in COVID times. It was shot in indoors with very limited resources due to the current circumstances. And part of my body of work is about creating headpieces. I create headpieces and I challenge, as I said, issues of identity and belonging through them. But with COVID, I actually developed a different direction with my headpieces in which they became these like quite gigantic modules. And yes, they are actually sort of following that intention of separating and creating this social distance that we are now, so forced, unfortunately, to follow. I also wanted to say that let me see, that the fact that I create these the world, the way that this world has been created, as you can see, there's a mix, or there's a again a tension between what would be this fantastical world and these creatures, but in a very domestic setting. And that domestic setting is a room. For those who are in New York, you can recognize that that's a room. It's a New York room with those floors, and you can see the sockets, the electrical sockets. So the electric sockets. So yes, it's also something that I did on purpose, and I have little winks to pop culture in the film that I'm not going to reveal now, but I hope probably you might have catch them. If not, when you revisit the film, if you want to, it would be really great if you could share with me if you were able to catch them. I did that on purpose because it's also very important. I create this world, this fantastical world, but I also put it in, and I create this tension, and I put it in the context of today and pop culture, and even adding Instagram filters, and even using a iPhone format at times, and all that it's on purpose, and it's to create this tension and not to go into these out of this world. It is an out of this world, but within this world, if that makes sense. Dwayne Hall asked me, how did you define the creative process to align with the music to capture depth and symbolism? Let me see, how do you define the creative process to align with the music to capture depth and symbolism? Well, I love this question because when I showed to Joan McCord, one of the performers, and an amazing person in my life, when I share with him a preview about the film, he asked me also about the music. How do I work with the music and the sound? And the thing is that when I'm shooting, when I'm creating, when I'm writing, I have already music inputs in my mind. I have already things that are hitting in my mind that I know that I want to use. And especially in the editing, some people, they just create the story and then they add the music later on, or they find the music later on. What I do is it's a very back and forth, and sometimes I choose the music and then I'm like, okay, these sounds, this music, this really represents this part of the story, this mood. How can I fit the mood into this? And so I love sound for me, it's a very important part, and is an extension of what I'm telling with my story. So I truly enjoy working with sound and with sound designers and sound artists. So yes, this is a big portion of my creative process, doing it, but I do it almost simultaneously. Um, Anonymous asked me, can you talk about why you choose to use masks in many of your projects? Well, as I said before, I use masks, or I mostly choose masks because that's my way of erasing an identity. No, I'm not erasing it, but I am just covering that identity to defy any preconceived notions about identity itself. And by that, I mean, um, my work is also, it has a part of activism and social activism in the sense of social justice. So I talk a lot about, questioning and challenging ideas and notions of identity, and that is gender identity, racial identity, um, identity as a human being, identity as a creature, identity and belonging, identity as a as a mature man, or identity as a young man, as a gay man or as a straight man sees. Or so I to me is very important to use these masks, because I want to erase, as I said, that preconceived notion of identity, to challenge the viewer, and perhaps, open discussions that go beyond categorizing someone by what we preconceive as their own identity. I think that the concept of identity, it's something bigger and that needs to have more attention, and to me is a very recurring subject and theme in my work. Sandra Sider, hi Sandra, says, did you COVID isolation influence this beautiful tactile film? Thank you for the beautiful words. Yes, of course it did. As I said, this experience of COVID, in which many of us felt very lonely, influenced a lot the idea of that reinforces this story, which is the search for identity, in order expanding your identity, or the search for belonging in order to survive, is a search for identity, is the search for how do I fit in different scenarios and circumstances that at the end is they are the same, and understood that, or understanding that as a mechanism of survival and adaptation. This is where my anthropological part comes in. I'm also very interested by theories of evolution and adaptation, and that's also a very recurrent theme. So yes, Sandra, definitely COVID influenced me totally in this experience. Anonymous attendee says, hi Tiago, many congratulations on the film, thank you. I am curious to know about your inspiration of music. I joined a little late, so I might have missed if you have already spoken about it earlier. Thank you. Thank you for your question. Yeah, my inspiration of music, I just spoke about this a bit ago. I don't mind repeating it again. It's it just comes. I just follow my intuition, and sometimes I'm listening to something and randomly in my free time, not necessarily working, and maybe that completely catches my attention for whatever reason. Maybe it's not for the current project that I'm working on, and I immediately catch it, and I make a note, I add it on my list. Sometimes also sounds there that that have been relevant to very meaningful experience along in my life, like the chants that you hear at some point in the film. These chants represent a very deep experience and chapter of my personal life, in which I was living in an ashram in India for some months, and it was a very deep, not very easy, or let's say a difficult moment in my life when I was there. And those chants are inspired by the chants that I used to listen there every morning at 4 a.m. Before going to the temple to receive my puja. But the chants that you hear in this film are reversed, so it's not really what the original sound chant would look like or sound like. Let's see, Fayaz, thank you for congratulating me. Javier Navarro, hi Javier. He says, hello from London and congratulations for a great piece. Thank you. Materials and textures are obviously relevant to your work and evoke a wide range of scenarios. Can you please talk about your process with these? Absolutely. Materials and textures, yes, I'm well, hello. I mean, I'm drawn to it. I'm drawn to tactility. I'm drawn to working with my hands. I love technology, and technology is a part of what we, it's part of our lives right now, and a very important part. And it's important to reconcile with that and implement in our craft and our creative making practices if you choose to. But to me, the hand is very important. And the way that I work with materials and textures is I just explore them, and I also collect materials. I travel a lot and throughout the world, and every time I'm in, I don't know if I'm in Burma or if I'm in I don't know, in Mumbai or Dubai, like wherever I am, and I love to go to local markets, and I love to just see different different materials, and that can be ropes, cords, or tapes, or you name it. And sometimes I just buy it for the sake of buying it. Again, like I just follow my intuition, and I don't know why I'm buying them, but I love to collect these special and rare materials. And then what I do in my studio is that I just play every day. Like I said, I'm constantly working. I don't work just when I have to deliver something. As a maker, as a designer, I am constantly exploring and making. And every day I sit on my table, on my desk, and I grab different materials and I just start working with them and creating, manipulating them, and creating new materials, evolving from these ones. Also, another thing is that, as you can see, there's a big portion of embroidery work. This hand embroidery work is all developed in India. India is a very special place in my heart, in my life, very beloved to me, and for many reasons. But one of them is because of the artisans, the local craft artisans that I am so honored and so happy to work with. These pieces are fully made and embroidered by hand, and I intervene in all the processes with them, in selecting the materials, in selecting the colors, I just sit down with the artisans, and that's my favorite part. And together we work and we create, and it's a co-creation process, which I think it's what makes the world so, the work so, and the world as well, the work so so special. The fact that I have my vision, they have their amazing vision and expertise, and both together we combine our vision, and then those works just emerge to life. So yes, I love designing embroideries. I've been doing this for a long time. I'm formally trained as a fashion designer, and a big portion of my work at that time was designing embroideries, and I continued doing so until today.
Thank you, Tiago. This
Are we
was
running out of
amazing.
time?
Yeah, hi, I'm here too. I'm just, because we are running out of time, we have the next presentation at 1 p.m. So we need
Oh,
to
I see.
do
Wow.
the change. Yes. So, but this was amazing. So we are very thankful that you were able to participate in New York Textile Month this year. And everybody, like Tiago said, please check out our program. We have so many interesting events going on. So on our website, Textile Month, and this video will, and this recording of Tiago today will go on our YouTube channel, New York Textile Month on YouTube.
Well, thank you so much.
Do you want to say anything before you leave, Tiago?
Yes, thank you so much, Ragna, for this opportunity on behalf of New York Textile Month. I'm very grateful for this. Thank you also to Elizabeth Sandler, who has been working so tirelessly in producing this, and all the family from New York Textile Month, of course, Lee Edelcourt and Philip Fimano. And I would also like to express again my gratitude to the performers, John McCourt and Eric Thurman, in this performance, and my family, friends, colleagues, and students from the MFA Textiles at Parsons, which are a constant source of inspiration and empowering, and the new forces of the world in textile. So thank you very much for today, and I'll see you soon. So thank you.